It feels like AI just hit accounting all at once, and most firm owners are trying to figure out what to do next. The firms that move first are already seeing the difference.
They were spending like 2 hours per client per month to do their books, and we got that down to about 15 minutes.
But this isn't just about speed, it's about completely changing how firms operate.
For the people that want to be AI-centric, like you have to be data-centric first, because data is what feeds the AI in the first place.
And the firms that get this right won't just be more efficient, they'll be operating on a completely different level.
There's going to be a window of 12 to 24 months where the firm that's adopting it the first, it's going to have a huge...
All right. Hey, everybody. David Cristello here, founder and CEO of Jetpack Workflow, host of Growing Your Firm podcast. And you know what, Isaac, this is the first time I'm going to say this, co-founder in a new company called Actually Finance. That's a nonprofit financial management platform. And I am really excited to bring on Isaac Perdomo. He is the founder of Opzer. You might have seen Isaac's work on LinkedIn. Of course, you might have seen it behind the scenes in many firms that he works with. And he is the kind of automation expert. He eliminates workflow bottlenecks, and he kind of has this toolkit of no code, low code, and of course, AI tooling that he can help implement inside of firms to solve for specific use cases. And I was telling him before we hit record, it's what, April of 2026. In February of 2026, it feel like, AI just got a huge wrecking ball and crashed through the walls of every business, of every firm. I can tell you, of every software vendor is like, what in the world is happening? What should I be doing?
Yeah.
How can I adjust and fix? Like, things are changing. And so I thought it'd be a lot of fun to bring Isaac on and talk about use cases, real life examples of how automation, how AI is transforming firms, and where we all go from here. We can kind of do some armchair speculation on that front. But Isaac, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, David. Appreciate the invite.
Yeah. Yeah. So first question, before we get into the use cases, high level, give us the one or two sentence on Opzer that I might have missed. And then let's start diving into use cases and tooling from thereafter, but give us the high level of it.
Yeah, definitely. I think you nailed it. Effectively, Opzer is an AI and automation consultancy fully dedicated to helping accounting firms support more revenue without adding headcount or adding expensive software. So we really dive in as consultants to map out their workflows, understand where are the bottlenecks and where are the manual processes that they're doing that AI and automation can help and alleviate.
Yeah, very cool. So we're going to get into use cases. But you know me, I'm in software, I'm a techie, I'm a vendor, whatever. I need to know, and we'll put those aside, maybe we'll dive in. What are your most common AI tooling today? Are you going like Claude, Chat? Are you into Manus? Like, what are your like top 5 or 6 favorite tools that you're using today?
Honestly, on the AI tool side, like the AI tool, AI model specifically, Claude has gotten so good at this point that I think it's hard to ignore it. So definitely seeing a lot more firms, honestly, just getting away from GPT and moving into Claude, Claude Cowork, Claude Code, and the regular Claude Chat. Beyond that, I'd say like a lot of the work we do is more on the back end in terms of like automation tools. So we're using a lot of like Make and NAN and making sure that not only does the firm has to adopt the AI tool and have to like go in as a user to put in the data and whatever it is that they want to do, but that also there are underlying automations in the background doing some of the work for them. So they don't even have to interact with the AI directly. The AI is sort of doing a lot of the work on the background for them. So the typical ChatGPTs and Claude, and aside from that, we're seeing a lot of either vibe coding tools like Replit and Lovable, and the more traditional automation tools like Zapier, Make, and NAN as the tools we kind of like deploy on our day-to-day to help our clients.
So Lovable, Replit, you're launching mini apps or prototyping. I think Lovable is like the best prototyping tool in the market, just in terms of like clarity of design. If you have an idea, but you're like, I need to visualize, man, open up Lovable, type it in, and you will be so surprised like how it gets 70 to 80% of it, right? It's
Yeah.
amazing. For make
We can
and
talk
N8,
use cases.
yes, we will get into it really quick before. So is N8 and make a Zapier? Just, I mean, I feel like the community here,
Yeah,
we're pretty familiar with Zapier. Is make just like a
an
different take
alternative.
on that? Yeah, alternative. Okay.
Exactly. It's a competitor. Their main competitors are Make and NAN. They have some benefits. Sometimes they have more capabilities. It's kind of like the consultant's tool of choice. Most of the people that do this kind of work prefer those tools because it has a little bit more of a robust ecosystem that supports more action, support more triggers, and it also has a more visual and horizontal like layout, which is very easy to see like what automation does as opposed like to the vertical Zapier workflow, which still works, but those are some of the things people really like about those tools compared to Zapier.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, let's get into some use cases. What are the I guess biggest wins you've seen over the last 1 to 2 quarters? Firms coming to you with X problem. What were some of the biggest results they were able to achieve? So let's
Yeah,
start with like before and after, and then let's unpack what got them there.
yeah, definitely. Well, I like to separate them into a few categories, right? There's like the bookkeeping use cases, the tax use cases, and then there's like a lot of internal on operational things. On the bookkeeping side, we've certainly seen a lot of firms be able to automate a lot of their bookkeeping. We actually have a case study for a firm that we help go from like they were spending like 2 hours per client per month to do their books, and we got that down to about 15 minutes over the course of about a year or so. Um, Now, what was that accomplished? It's a series of things. Of course, it's not one specific thing, but for a lot of firms, they can really leverage as simple as a tool as like bank rules and QuickBooks and Xero to do a lot of the work, and then layer on top of that AI and automation to kind of code the rest of the transactions and bring in any of the sometimes journal entries or transactions that are not making it through from other tools, like whether that's Toast, PayPal, Square, Stripe, as well as like creating sometimes the journal entries that they have to put into place to then categorize or split those transactions as they wish. So at least on the bookkeeping side, between rules, automating coding, journal entries, and also another big use case, and this is like where AI is actually very useful, it's quality control and review of the kind of final product. I feel like that's such an underrated underrated use case right now, where every firm I feel should be using AI to almost be that additional quality layer to review their work before it may get out the door. And that applies both to bookkeeping and tax and pretty much any other deliverable that they produce for clients.
Is that something that's already embedded in the Intuit ecosystem, or is that a workflow you have to build out?
Intuit, it's coming up with like their own agents and certain AI tools. We haven't seen a lot of adoption from clients, at least not yet. So most of the firms that are using AI to review, for example, financial statements once they're ready to go to see if there's anything wrong or to summarize it such that they can have a quality advisory conversation, are, I guess, taking it on their own hands. They might have like a project in ChatGPT. They might have like a good checklist of the things that they typically do or they typically give to their other staff accountants to run the quality assurance and like a checklist and giving that to AI to run the deliverables through it.
Okay, so it's not even those. In that case, if they're not embedded in well, they could be embedded in the general ledger, or they're about to be. Who knows? Once this was released, that could be a whole new tidal wave of tooling. But they're going in Claude, they're going in ChatGPT, and they're running
Yeah.
some of those. Some of the reviews, they're uploading the thing, running the reviews through there.
And typically it's a progression, right? We definitely see firms that start using the AI tool to almost like perfect the prompt that gives them a good result. But once they get that prompt right, sometimes what makes sense at that point is to incorporate automation such that now that prompt is run through those deliverables automatically. For example, for that firm that I talked to you about, that we kind of helped reduce a lot of their month-end time, we did put in place, after she had a good prompt, an automation that every 15th of the month, for like about 70 clients, the automation brings in all of the reports, the financial reports, runs it through that checklist, and then puts any issues that it flagged on their project management tool of choice. So they effectively wake up and already see the issues that the AI brought up, as opposed to having to manually go in
That's awesome.
and put that in.
And it's their project management tool of choice. Is that because Make or N8 they like I know, so I use Claude a lot, and Claude has Claude and Chrome. So it doesn't, I mean,
Yeah.
if you have a integration in Claude, it goes faster, easier, the MCP connection. But even if you don't, it could open up Claude Chrome and grab the page and override it. And so is so are when you say like it's running that automatically the 15th of every month, is it literally happening like automatically, or does the user have to go in and say start, and then
It's literally happening automatically in her case. And let me walk you through like better understanding of how it's triggered, if you like. She
Yeah.
uses a third-party reporting tool, and that's what she uses to send the reports and the schedule.
okay, something like Fathom or
email.
something, or
Exactly.
tool
They
like
use
that,
Shift.
reach reporting. Oh,
They use
Shift.
Shift.
Yeah.
So they have every 15th of the month, we sending those statements to an inbox in Zapier, and then that processes the file, the
Mhm.
attachment, to then get it in. So literally, they just wake up and the issues are there for them to look at, as opposed to them having to manually trigger anything, if that makes sense.
I see,
And again,
yeah.
typically that's a progression, right? Where people might kind of first do it manually, but then over time realize, hey, for two reasons, they might want to automate it. If they want to make sure that now everyone in their team does it the same way, which sometimes can be
Yeah.
a challenge, and also be able to update that prompt over time. So if you think about it, if I give John and Jane a prompt that I have to run their quality assurance, if that prompt changes, it's kind of a little bit difficult to kind of get them to kind of adopt the new version. So effectively, by having it as part of the workflow, it makes sure it runs every month. No one has to worry about anything pretty much.
Yeah, it makes me think. I know we're gonna dig into more use cases, but
Yeah.
it also makes me think that and I think honestly, I wouldn't say this 6 months ago, but like I feel like the hype is real now. Like agents are gonna be they're a big deal right now, and again, rightfully so. What you can connect in the places you can go with Claude Cowork is really cool, but
Yeah.
you need to have your data in order. I mean, agents eat data 24/7, and so
Right.
how much work do you need to do, or if somebody's listening, their firm, like how should a firm be thinking about their data? Is it clean up your data ASAP, clean up your workflow tool, your CRM, your general ledger, like I guess A, it's a very boring task, and B, but it's very
Yeah.
important. So like
It is.
for people listening and they're like, oh, I don't want to do that, like how have you approached that? I mean, maybe that's packaged into some of your proposals as data cleanup, but I guess speak to that level of importance, and then speak to like ways that people might be able to start chipping away at the
Yeah.
data quality, because this is what's going to feed an agent.
Yeah, definitely. For the people that want to be AI centric, like you have to be data centric first, because data is what feeds the AI in the first place. And the way I like to see it is it's almost like, perhaps you would appreciate that as a founder, seeing their firm as a product and making sure they have a clean table for each object of their firm. For example, if I ask the firm owner, hey, Mr. Firm Owner, where would I go to find an up-to-date, clean list of your clients? If the answer is, I don't know, I have to go to 17 different places to put it together, guess what? AI won't be able to have that data available to understand does it go to find that.
Yes. Yeah.
Uh,
So if you're like the classic thing is, I have it in Jetpack. Well, I'll speak to Jetpack 1. This isn't a problem with Jetpack 2. I have it in Jetpack. I have it in a spreadsheet. I have it somewhere else. I have it you know what I mean? Or even just Jetpack plus spreadsheet. Nope, too many. Too many.
Right.
Right? Like everything in that spreadsheet needs to live in a place. Right?
Right.
And you need to
Yes.
pick what the canonical source is.
Correct. So that's clients. That's probably the most obvious ones. There are other things that would be helpful to start to make sure you have a place for. One, it's work. Perfect example, Jetpack workflow, making sure you have your work in the same place. The other ones that I find super helpful for this AI world, it's meeting transcripts. But that's probably where the most context lives about terms. And that's usually a very quick win and easy lift for most people to start recording their meetings and transcribing their meetings. So now AI be able to pull from that.
And what did the AI do? By the way, I like 3 proposals on pulling meeting transcriptions into Jetpack. So this is you're now like I feel like edging me on, but what do people then? What are the most common things they do with that? Are they then prompting them to inform them building proposals, generating work, updating tasks? What are coming? Or are they building sales playbooks from these things? What are people doing with these transcripts?
Yeah, a couple of things. You brought up some of them. One is definitely any action items that need to be done out of that conversation, making sure that that is either put into the systems for people to do it, and sometimes even getting it done directly. I think people are getting more comfortable giving the AI the power to perhaps even execute on some of these things. And if you ask it, if you told the client, "Hey, I'm going to follow up with you with these things via email," get it to at least create the first draft for you, as an example.
I see. Yeah.
The other thing I think is very valuable for firms, especially those that want to get into advisory, have more quality conversations, is like client profiling. So making sure that now you're kind of effectively obtaining the context of that client, of their state, and having that clearly laid out in a way that allows you to, hey, the next time you meet, you kind of can look back at what was discussed and make sure that context is not lost. And be very helpful for that too. Client sentiment. This is one that for the leadership in the company can be very helpful. Getting a sense of whether any either neutral or negative things that came up out of that conversation, and how can it like automatically flag it for you, so you're aware that perhaps there's a client that's not satisfied or for one reason or another shows some negative sentiment in the conversation. And honestly, that's just gold. It's, your imagination is the limit, really.
Yeah, that sentiment thing is pretty wild to me. It's like a little bit of Minority Report where they're like, it's like pre-murder. They're like, but it's like for clients, it's like we like you're leaving us. No, I'm not. No, I could tell in your sentiment you're about to leave. You know what I mean? You're like you're withdrawn. You seem a little upset, right? And maybe it wasn't the call. Maybe it was something else. But I think like that sentiment is really interesting because it's actually potentially a more honest CSAT or NPS. If you're meeting with clients monthly and you're not picking up sentiment, you are probably missing out. And if you're sending a yearly survey, I mean, it's it's on the whims of the client how they feel at I don't know December, and people are either like really excited or really not excited for December. But if you're getting sentiment, your Zoom or meets calls every month, that's way more, and it's happening automatically, and you're getting it across the board, not the people who just so happen to fill out a survey. I think that's very powerful.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it can act as a leading indicator to your point of its line, perhaps leaving and you being able to act before that actually happens.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, and there's a bunch of these industry note-taking tools, but I feel like whether it's Abacor or Vinyl or Ping or Granola or Fireflies or Fathom or Zoom. Zoom has 2 different recorders now. Just use them. Like it's like
Yeah.
I don't think anywhere
Save them somewhere. Save them somewhere and make sure that now that wherever it lives is somewhere you can give the AI access to it, so that now you can start to get some insight from that.
Yeah, to me that's so mission critical. Do you so we talked about the quality assurance and the bookkeeping. I guess let's go through one more use case that you're pretty excited about or you see some pretty big transformation.
Yeah. I'm very excited about and perhaps, it's still a little early to tell how much firms will adopt this, but firms having their ability to build their own tools internally. And I think at least at this point, it's more miscellaneous and simpler tools. Just to give you an example, a lot of firms right now, we have them creating like their own pricing tools. Sometimes just for internal purposes, sometimes for external purposes. Sometimes if they were using this very complex Excel to create tax projections, they're creating now simple tool to build tax projections within their firm. And with AI, it's becoming so much easier, so much faster for you to like build your own little tools. That's definitely a use case that I'm pretty excited about for firms to like start diving into.
I don't know if you saw this, but earlier this week, like I said, we're in April. Mike Libby, I think is his name. Is it YBL? Yeah.
Yeah.
So he was like, I'm sick of paying Calendly 10 grand a year. I forget. People are like, how could it be 10 grand? He's Canadian. He has a bunch of team members. He found a way to pay them 10 grand a year. Right. So that was the price. And he coded a scheduler in two weeks, 1 week. I don't know. The low tens of hours. And he's like, cool, 10 grand saved. And from my understanding, it's working, it's out in the wild, clients are booking from it. Like, so I think in 2025, we dramatically overhyped vibe coding, but there is something enduring about the Lovables and Replits. There is something there because, I don't think HubSpot is going to go out of business tomorrow. I would never want to buy, even though I'm in I think it's because I'm in software. I never want to try to build HubSpot on my own. Like that just feels like my eyes will bleed. I don't care how many agents I have coding that thing up. Like, no, thank you. But some of these other tools, like in his case, Calendly, and how he was using Calendly, it could have been his use of it was just also so straightforward. Send a link, somebody books it, it sends a link back to your calendar. It's like he just saved 10 grand by building him. Now it'd be great to do like a follow-up with him in 90 days to be like, is it still working, or have you been like debugging it, every week for 10 weeks straight? But I mean, that was
my prediction.
Yeah.
Here's my prediction. Probably if you look at a line item budget of a firm today, you probably see like 20, 30, 40 apps probably. And my guess is that we'll probably over the next 24 to 36 months, especially for the more tech savvy forward thinking firms, we'll probably see more like 5 apps in the development team instead of like 30 SaaS applications, as they kind of
that'd be wild.
Get a lot more of that in house. I do think that there's definitely, to your point, things that I wouldn't recommend you try to build code, especially practice management, CRMs, accounting software. Probably still want to stick to what's out there, right? But almost like anything else, I think it's like up for grabs for the firms that are paying a lot of money for it. And it's like clear ROI, to your point, like 10 grand save, a pretty clear ROI if someone can build it for less than that.
Yeah. I mean, it's gonna be it's gonna be a really interesting time. I could tell you, even software vendors and founders that look like they're crushing it, and in some degree they are crushing it. I end up talking to them, and they're like, "Dude, I'm having a mental meltdown every 2 weeks with like what's going on, and I always feel behind." And so everybody's trying to figure out this new, wild, weird world of how everything gets resorted and reshuffled. But yeah, I mean, I think these tools are becoming quite powerful. 2025 was the year, I feel like, of developer skeptics. The most notable one would be there's a popular language in software development called Ruby on Rails. One of the authors or founders of Ruby on Rails, DHH, was like, this is all hokey nonsense, like whatever. It just puts out AI slop. And then like 2 months ago, he's like, I don't know, it's kind of amazing, right? Like he was like, he's seen as like kind of the last convert right into it. And so Claude Code is powerful. Codex is powerful. So these things get better, and there are tipping points over time. And so I think vibe coding, and I can tell you like a great software developer right now. Oh my gosh. I mean, they're inside of Claude Code 24/7 and Codex 24/7. I mean, there's no question about it now. And so, yes, I think between vibe coding, software developers becoming more efficient, we're going to see like an explosion of bespoke apps and bespoke integrations and really interesting. Like I almost think about it as like there feels like there's somewhat endless permutations of clothing and food and things like that. I mean, I think software is going to start to feel potentially a little bit like that, where there's like Isaac's recipe for how CRM should look and feel, right? And it's just like, I really like your recipe over Bob's recipe, right? It's just like, whatever it may be. So I think it's going to be an explosion in technology, but I do conceptually agree that there'll be fewer pieces of software. Um, and I don't know if this will stay, but right now it feels like one of those layers that's going to gobble up a half a dozen or a dozen of these softwares would be Claude Cowork, or I'm sure
Yes.
ChatGPT of some level. But I mean, Claude Cowork, I have it hooked up to a new project I'm working on. Actually, I have it hooked up to a Webflow website. I sometimes log into that website. Mainly, I just work through it through Cowork, and I'm asking
Yeah.
Cowork what I should do to make it a better website, make it faster, make it more performant, make the content better optimized. And then it gives suggestions, and I say yes, and it just runs.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't want to open that tool up ever again. I mean, I do because I don't give it like destruction or publish to production powers, so I always go in and do that. But I mean, running these financial records, doing these summaries of financial reports, I think there's a Claude or Claude-like tool that kind of ingests. So, like in accounting, we don't have our Harvey AI, but something will become that.
Yeah, definitely. And you mentioned something there that I think could become the future of the accounting profession and really any other profession where we rely more and more of the chat on a chat interface as the way we work for everything. To your point, I do also have our Claude connected into our project management tool or our knowledge base,
Yeah.
our CRM, and that's where I'm getting the data, that's where I'm pushing the data, that's where I'm making updates. So it will be a very interesting world where that's really where you spend most of your day.
Yeah, they definitely, and there's been a lot of tools. I don't know if you see like an Adio, which is a popular CRM tool,
Yeah.
or Linear, which is a popular software project management company. Now, when you open up that software, it's just a chat. It's like, hey, what do you want to do today? And it's just a chat field now.
Yeah.
The downfall is I've tried some of these. I at least tried Linear. I haven't tried Adios, and we use Linear for software development. And I asked it a question. I'm like, based on what you know about this project, when will it get done? And then it just blurted out the due date that we put in for the project. I'm like, no, 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 no. Like you're not using any
Yeah.
knowledge here. Like I want
And
you to look at the
intelligence.
velocity. I want you to look at the velocity of the issues and complexity and actually generate a new. I mean, it's just a simple burn down estimate, but I just wanted it to do that. I didn't want to click into it. And so
Yeah.
they understand. I think everybody understands that there's something enduring about a chat interface. I think your classic table views and Kanban views are not going anywhere. I think it's going to be and a chat interface, right?
Yeah.
You're gonna
Chat
you're
interface for you be able to like get specifically what you're looking for at that point in time.
yeah.
Um, yeah, definitely.
So, final questions as we wrap. What are the, I guess, most interesting? Like, if you could squint and you're like, oh, it's not there today, but like, it should be here in 2026. Is it
Oh,
the tax agents are coming up left and right. We're doing 1040s. No, we're doing 1120s. Is it like somebody really? And maybe Basis has done this. I don't know, but it's like, is it cracking the continuous close and month end categorization? Is that like going to be fully like pretty much 99.9% done? Like where do you kind of see the most short term big opportunities that are maybe coming to, or is
yeah.
it things from Intuit? I've totally left
Yeah.
out into the 800-pound gorilla. So what do
Yeah.
you see in the horizon?
I am more bullish about what the AI foundational models and companies will be able to put out. So I think Claude Cowork, the moment that's out of the research preview, like their beta version,
Dude, it's out
and
of this
it's
morning.
out of, oh my God, like this is like before and after. As firms now all hopefully will start to be a lot more comfortable putting in an information connector to their desktop files or
Yeah,
whatever it is.
yeah,
Like it's gonna
yeah,
be insane. It's
yeah.
really gonna be crazy.
It
I am
just
more
came out
bullish
this
about.
morning because I was watching as 149,999 other people did it. I was watching like the Jason Stats Fly Cowork video, and he's like, but it's in research mode, so like, you know, just wait for it to, and then like 15 days
Game
later, they're
over.
like, it's out, and I'm like, oh my gosh,
Yeah,
that's
it's game over. I do feel like if I had to like summarize what I envision as the workflow for most firms, it's almost like the last 1%. It's the last mile that their accountants will have to do. So literally 99% of the close will be done. They just have to like, these are 3 transactions out of your 50 clients and 250 accounts that you have to look for that the AI wasn't confident enough to do it on its own. Same thing with tax. Like, right, we can like pull all of these documents, all the source document, created the workflow first. We put the data in the tax software, just like double check and hit send. I think that's the world we're going, where most of the compliance work's gonna be really a professional judgment to double check and review, and then the client relationship, and that's it.
Yeah, I feel like there's gonna be the turning point is gonna be like there's gonna be probably years where accountants are like, we were already a very profitable business, but oh my gosh, we are so profitable that they're just gonna be like brain exploded. Like this is gonna drive so much margin. Like, oh my gosh, like, from 2 hours to 15 minutes or 2 hours in the tax return to 10 minutes. And then I think where it's gonna be like, wow, we're living in a wild world is, because technology typically is very deflationary. So
Yeah.
the $1,500 tax return, and maybe your cost on it, I'm just making up numbers, $700. After technology, maybe it's $200. And you're like, oh my gosh, I got so much margin. But then comes along Jeff Bezos's famous quote, your margin is my opportunity. And so somebody always comes in and says, I don't need that much of a margin. So I'm going to give, first class experience instead of $1,500 for the return. I'm going to do it for $500 and I'm going to floor them with the service. And you know what? My margins are going to be just fine. Like, so when I start seeing people start to like there's really viable, and maybe this is where PE is going. I know H&R Block is moving shifts around with AI, but I mean I think they have potentially a branding problem because you kind of know they're kind of like the cheap ones, right? Like you get what you pay for. But I think when you start seeing like certain regional firms or boutique shops like old prices or reduced prices, or they start feeling competitive pressures, maybe from some of these PE roll-ups where prices are dropping, it's going to be like, oh, it's here. Like technology's now done the full arc or drove efficiency, increased margin, but then now there's this huge pressure of the Amazonian effect on professional services potentially.
And my thoughts on that is that there's going to be the firm that's the laggard, that's going to add as a forcing function for there to adopt the technology. But to your point, I also feel like probably there's going to be a window of 12 to 24 months where the firm that's adopting it the first, it's going to have a huge software-like kind of margins that's crazy because they can still charge a premium because the market has yet to adapt for it, but they're going to have the internal operational efficiency to deliver those products for their clients in really no time.
Yes, and I could tell you, and I don't have any insider knowledge here, but I can imagine if I was sitting inside of these boardroom meetings with PE firms buying up accounting firms, they're like, this is what we're going to do. We have a very sticky, client base, and we are going to operationally, drive all these efficiencies, maybe increase price. I was talking with Jeff Breskin on the podcast. It's not out yet, but I was like, are all the like you know a lot of PE. You get in more to PE than I do. I was like, everybody's super skeptical. Is PE working out? PE will never do a good job. I was like, do you know, like behind the scenes, is anybody doing a good job? He goes, there are some that are definitely not doing a good job, right? They are doing the markdowns and they're not making it. And he goes, and there's some that are, right? So it is the spectrum. So I think everybody probably has every PE probably has like literally the same thesis. Buy up a bunch, centralize expenses, inject AI to drive margins, invest more in business development, and then like a bunny out of the hat, you can trade at a higher multiple in 5 years than where you bought it from. There's a lot of mess that happens between that thesis and 5 years out, and it's a mess because it's people and it's change management. But I could tell you every PE firm is thinking of it in this way. I think for the accounting firms and some of the PE leaders that are probably listening to this, like doing it the right way, more methodical, not like a bull in a china shop. Like I do agree. There should be an explosion of opportunity. for wherever you want to take your firm. Maybe that's just higher margins and set it and forget it. Maybe it's higher margins and sell. Whatever you want to do with the firm, higher margins, but reinvest into marketing and sales to grow faster. You have that opportunity like today to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It
Um,
might be, the opportunity of a lifetime. So for people listening to this, I think they should definitely feel some urgency with
yeah.
this whole AI
Do you-
stuff.
Final question I have for you. Do you get hit up by PE firms or they're like, Isaac, can you come like look under the hood for us? Like,
We have a few PE firms that have reached out and we are kind of in conversations with those people. We
makes
might
sense.
engage with some of them, and I think it makes a lot of sense for them to have like almost like an efficiency playbook that they can then deploy for their partners or whatever they want to call the people that acquire. So we definitely have heard from some.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, they're either going to be working with somebody like you or hiring somebody in house. Like, there's no way they're
Right.
just not, they're trying to invest in this. So, well, Isaac, this has been great. If our community wants to reach out, say thank you, learn more, get connected with you and your business, what's the best way for them to do so?
Well, Opzer.co is our website. If you want to check that out, we definitely have a quest there for people to assess how ready they are for AI and what are some of the things they might want to put in place in order to be ready for this AI revolution. So if people go Opzer.co/quest, they can take that. Otherwise, connect with me on LinkedIn or YouTube. We're trying to put a lot of content out there to educate their profession.
Yeah, awesome. Highly recommend going to the site, certainly hitting up Isaac on LinkedIn. I mean, I follow your content and I've gotten a lot of value out of it. If you want to recap of today's show, go to jetpackworkflow.com/blog, jetpackworkflow.com/blog. If you enjoyed the episode, leave a review. Really enjoyed it. Share it. Help us get the word out. Isaac, thanks for coming on.
I appreciate it, David.